Hello, everyone. I wanted to read a little article because I thought it was funny. It was published on August 12th, 2025, so fairly recently to the date of this recording. The article is researchers made a social media platform where users were the AI, and the bots ended up in a war. The article starts off with social platforms like Facebook and X exuberate the problem of political and social polarization, but they don't create it. A recent study conducted by researchers at the University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands put AI chatbots in a simple social media structure to see how they interacted with each other. And they found that even without the invisible hand of the algorithm, they tend to organize themselves based on their pre-assigned affiliations and self-sort into echo chambers. The study, a preprint of which was recently published on AR Arxiv? Not sure how to pronounce that. It took 500 AI chatbots powered by OpenAI's large language model GPT-40 Mini and prescribed to them specific personas. Then, they were unleashed onto a simple social media platform that had no ads and no algorithms, offered content discovery or recommended posts served into users' feeds. Those chatbots were tasked with interacting with each other and the content available on their platforms. Over the course of 5 different experiments, all of which involved the chatbots engaging in 10,000 actions, the bots tended to follow other users who shared their own political beliefs. It also found that users who posted the most partisan content tended to get the most followers and reposts. And that part I find very interesting. It's like, it shows that even within machines, there's bias, because it wants to align with what its already predetermined programming tells it. This is what side you're on, this is what you think, this is generally how you feel. And I find it interesting that you can see that not just in humans, but in a machine, where it's just like, no, these things are just designed to talk to each other and based off of these precepts. And then they just go wild, and as you can see, they make their own factions. They choose their own sides because it's what they're already affiliated to. The findings don't exactly speak well of us, considering the chatbots were intended to replicate how humans interact. Of course, none of this is truly independent from the influences of the algorithm. The bots have been trained on human interaction that has been defined by decades now by how we behave online in an algorithm-dominated world. They are emulating the already poisoned-brained versions of ourselves. It's not clear how we come back from that. Which is basically them just admitting, yeah, once you're exposed to the social media venom or poison, it's kind of hard to come back from it. You know, it's like when you get sick or you're wounded or something and you're technically fine afterwards, but it didn't quite heal right. In Lord of the Rings references, it's like when Frodo gets stabbed with a Morgul blade in his shoulder. That never healed right. He had to leave and it was never going to heal right, even after he left the land, like even after he left the Shire and left from Rivendell and all that. So I imagine it's something like that for these bots. It's like, I don't know how we come back when these things are already designed around a way that is like a poisoned well, and it's just kind of the water everybody drinks now. It continues with, to combat the self-selecting polarization, the researchers tried a handful of solutions, including offering a chronological feed, devaluing viral content, hiding follower and repost figures, hiding user profiles, and amplifying opposing views. That last one, the researchers had success with in a previous study, which managed to create high engagement and low toxicity in a simulated social platform. None of the interventions really made a difference, failing to create more than 6% shift in the engagement given to partisan accounts. In the simulation that hid user bios, the partisan divide actually got worse, and the extreme posts got even more attention. It seems social media as a structure may simply be untenable for humans to navigate without reinforcing our worst instincts and behaviors. Social media is a funhouse mirror for humanity. It reflects us, but in the most distorted of ways. It's not clear that there are any strong. It's not clear there are strong enough lenses to correct how we see each other online. Okay, so that's what they're saying. All right, so I find it interesting that from the research that they've deduced from this, it's like, yeah, humans were never supposed to interact like this. Because if these bots are anything to go off of, which they seemingly are, because they were developed over several decades of our own interactions on the internet and through social media, it shows that these things, much like people, will inevitably lean into their own echo chamber, which is fair, that's fine. We all want to be comfortable. We all want to feel like we're a part of something and feel like we have a shared view on things and shared values, of which clearly I understand. It's how we all find our peace in certain ways. It's how we know we're safe around certain groups or certain people that we interact with in our day to day. It makes sure that we don't have a lot of conflict when it comes to conversations or life choices and things like that. I get it. But I find it so odd. I find it odd that even when they hid the user bios and everything, it actually got worse and the bots became more extreme and more biased, and it took them to be more outlandish and more partisan in their beliefs and their posts, and that's what would get the traction versus a profile that has all that data available not necessarily doing, like, having the same pull. I find that to be very interesting. Like, is it a paranoia aspect that got imprinted onto the AI's like learning model? Because, oh, well, I don't know him, I don't see him, I don't trust him, and so it's like, therefore those profiles had to post more outlandish things to become even louder in the group. And maybe that would explain what we're seeing in social media pretty much over like the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer by this point, how it's just been escalating, where people have been saying and doing more and more extreme actions just so that way they can get those clicks, get those views, get that attention. And it feels like, you know how it feels disingenuous, or it feels like, wow, this is ridiculously like outlandish and rage bait, or this is just clickbait, or whatever the so odd chosen word would be nowadays, or suffix and prefixes. I think that's what we're seeing in real time with this AI experiment, and if we were to let one go for like 100 years, I want to see what it would devolve into. I want to see what would happen if you introduced a large enough population to have a good metric for what these different AI program bots would be able to do, and if they could convince each other to switch sides. I don't know. I'm going full Transformers in my head right now. But yes, I wanted to read that article. I just thought it was interesting that even when you give AI the option to be part of social media without advertisements, without necessarily like direct influences from the algorithms or anything, just a pre-based algorithm with a pre-based social media platform with the stuff, with everything that is going to ever have already pre-programmed into it, even machines fall into the same toxic behaviors and obsessive behaviors that humans fall into, which really makes me wonder where it comes from by the end of the day. Of course, again, they were programmed after us, so it's just like expediting the process of watching humans do the thing. But it's just interesting to see machines follow the same path. Anyway, if you found the same thing interesting, or if anything like that, and you wanted to look it up, as I said, it was an article written by A.G. Dellinger and published on August 12th, 2025 on Gizmodo. So take that for what it is. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Have yourselves a great day. I'll be talking to you later, and have a good one.